Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the Girly Nerd Podcast. On today's episode, I am joined by a very special guest, Rick9G of the YouTube channel of the same name, and we are going to be discussing I Love Lucy today. Specifically, our favorite I Love Lucy episodes from season 1 through 3 set in New York. So because I Love Lucy is such a great show, I didn't want to limit the amount of episodes to talk about, so I decided to split them up into groups. So we'll be doing several of these videos, me and Rick, and I look forward to doing those. But the first ones, as I said, they're just New York episodes in the first 3 seasons. But before we get into talking about those, I just wanted to give you a chance to introduce yourself and your channel and what you do.
Thank you. So thank you, first of all, for having me on your podcast. I appreciate it. I'm excited to talk about I Love Lucy and classic TV, so it's always fun. So I appreciate you having me on. So my name is Rick9G. I've been on YouTube over 10 years making videos on classic TV shows and movies, focusing on commentary, behind-the-scenes information, fun facts, things you probably never knew, stuff like that. Things that I think as I started to watch these shows and movies more, I wanted to find out more. I knew some things on my own, but as kind of get into that rabbit hole of classic TV shows and movies, you do more and more of it. And so I wanted to not only just learn it myself, but share them with people. So that's why I make the videos. And I just absolutely love it. I started with one video, now over 2,000 videos made on YouTube, all free for everyone to watch. And all the time, classic TV and movies. And my favorite show ever, I Love Lucy. So it's a great topic you picked today.
2,000 videos? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's insane. Wow. Congratulations on that. My goodness. So my favorite TV show of all time is I Love Lucy. And I think you said it's your favorite show as well. Is there any specific reason that you love I Love Lucy? Like, did you grow up watching it? Stuff like that.
Yeah, as a little kid, the way the network had the shows going, they started with early morning cartoons, and then they transitioned into live action, so people actually acting versus cartoons. And the first they would show the transition between that cartoon and the live action was I Love Lucy. So, the last cartoon would air, and then all of a sudden Lucy starts. And so, I don't know, I just stayed there, started watching it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this show is so fun. The way I saw it as a 3-year-old, because my parents didn't get me into it, I saw it myself, was this is like a cartoon in black and white with no color, but it's so fun and it's zany and this lady's funny. And then Ricky's eyes are funny. And then this Fred guy is grumpy and it's funny. So I saw these very simple elements that I really loved. And I realized that no matter if the episode came on over and over again, I would love watching it. And I would remember certain ones, want to see those. Back in those days, in the 90s, you couldn't select what episodes you watched, right? You could say, oh, tune in at this time at the station. Oh, we'll see what's on. But now, I mean, with Pluto TV, DVDs, you could watch whatever you want. And so I think something is very unique with the show. I mean, 30-something years have passed. I'm a recent dad now, and I could be feeding my little daughter and pop on I Love Lucy, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like just everything is okay with the world. It gives you this kind of false sense of reality where, of course, you're watching a show, but it just makes everything perfect, everything fun. Things are zany, but there's a nice ending to it, and it makes me laugh every single time. So, I mean, that good feeling comes from watching the show.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I grew up watching it like on Nick at Night. So my parents, I basically introduced me to it because we would watch all the Nick at Night lineup and stuff. And I don't even remember like the first time watching it. It's like I feel like Lucy's always been in my life, kind of like Disney movies and things like that. And just always loved it. And just it's so funny and sweet and zany. And so, yeah, I'd watch them in Nick at Night. But at some point, they started releasing like 2 episodes per like VHS tape. And we would go and buy them we would go to the mall and we would go into Suncoast Video. And we were always so excited. It's like when we found a new Lucy tape with two more episodes, and we would just watch those so much over and over again.
Yeah.
In addition to watching them like on Nick at Night. And yeah, Lucy's just always been my favorite show. I think lucilleball is so inspiring. And it's like the ultimate comfort show. Anytime I feel I'm sick, I just don't feel good, I'll put it on.
Yeah.
And like there was a time last year where I was going through something and I literally just had Lucy on like 24/7. I stuck it on Pluto. And I would see like the same episodes within a few days of each other. And I'm like, I realized I could just watch this nonstop and never get sick of it.
Yeah.
It's just such a fun, it's a very comforting show to me.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
So yeah, I love, oh, go ahead.
The way I liken it to people is, maybe some people don't understand. Even my wife, who's gotten to enjoy I Love Lucy more, and sometimes I won't even tell her, and she'll pop something on, she'll watch Lucy. I'm like, you're watching it? And is like kind of, if you're a fan of, which I am, of theme parks, and you're like, well, how could you go to Disneyland? You could just go once and then you're never going to go again. Well, no, you can go multiple times and enjoy it, and you're still seeing the same castle. I mean, you see different things, but at the same time, it's the same land for the most part. Or Universal Studios, sometimes you'll go watch the same shows that you've seen, at least for us here in Southern California. So it gives you that, like you said, comfort feeling, but also there's enjoyment, even though you've done it multiple times. Hey, a good steak you can eat many times in your life, right?
I think the sign of a good series is if you can watch it multiple times and always laugh, even if you know something's coming, you're still laughing a lot. And Lucy's like that for sure. So yeah, I Love Lucy ran from 1951 to 57. It had 181 episodes. Like I said, it's my favorite show ever. But we're going to start with season 1 through 3. So you have we both have a top 5. Do you have any honorable mentions?
I do have a few honorable mentions, and I think the only problem with a list like this that we make is that probably in a couple months it'll change. And that's just because I had my typical list, and then all of a sudden maybe I'll watch certain ones and I'm like, I've underappreciated this one, or I've underappreciated this one, and so forth. So my list is current as of now, but not my forever list.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think my honorable mentions, I love my unique episodes that, I think the popular ones are 2 or 3 that people always talk about and watch. And I think honorable mention, I'll put it in there. And again, you've said, let's look at the favorites, not necessarily the best ever made, the smartest, the funniest, but just the ones that I like to watch the most. Right. I would say honorable mentions is definitely where the girls go to the chocolate factory and the boys stay at home. I think it is such a fun episode. I think that's maybe, I would say, the stereotypical episode that people watch, right? The conveyor belt, the stereotypical one where it's like, oh yeah, is that the chocolate episode? I think I really like that. One of the reasons is not just the girls with the chocolates, but the underappreciated boys at home, how they cause chaos in the house and make it just like, Ricky with raw chicken, Fred with the little cup, and the water is the rice is overflowing. He's trying to fill it up. That is just golden and so underappreciated.
So I have that episode in my top 5. Where did I put it? Number 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think what I like about that episode is, it's one of the most iconic episodes. It's the one of the, there's like 2 episodes people think of, and this is one of them. And I love this one because it shows what made the show so great. It is about Lucy, but it really is about all 4 of them, and the comedic gold, comedic magic the 4 of them made, because all of them are so funny. And Lucy and Ethel with the conveyor belt, Lucy dipping the chocolate, that's so funny, obviously. But I think Ricky and Fred rival that scene, definitely, in the kitchen. It's so funny, the comparison between Ricky with the broom and the bowl and all these huge things going nuts, and Fred with this itty bitty little cup and the spoon, trying to do it. I'm like, Fred, come on, what are you doing? It's just hilarious. And I think another thing I like about that episode is that it shows, like, no matter the job, whether it's doing stuff at home or doing stuff out of the home, everything is difficult. It's difficult to do
Mhm.
all these things, and they have value.
Right.
So even though it's like they got a taste of each other's world, and you can see their perspective, and they learn something. And even though, in the sense, this I Love Lucy very traditional, kind of show, it's also, I think, pretty progressive, especially for
Mhm.
the time, and especially that episode. So that's why I like that one. That's why I had it so yeah, high on my list, number 3. And it just makes me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. It's a really, really good episode. I love it.
So what's another honorable mention of yours?
Another honorable mention that I think um, should be put on that list is definitely the Vitamin Avengement episode. Another iconic one. I've seen it recently many, many times. And one of the reasons why I loved it and I appreciate it even more now with multiple views is the smart build up to the actual scene.
Mm-hmm.
The whole where, everyone knows she's drunk, she's taking the apple pectin or, the concoction of vitamin Benjamin, and she doesn't know there's so much alcohol in it. And that's a great scene. But again, I guess because I watch it so much, I'm like, okay, that's great. But what I also love is the ending scene of her stumbling
Yeah.
on the set while Ricky is so like in his thing, like this is his moment, this is his opportunity to further his career. Like it makes me feel bad. I'm like, you have no idea what's coming toward your a train wreck. And that's when just Lucy comes in, super drunk. She's like, hi, Fred. Hi, Ethel. Getting in
Yeah,
front
yeah,
of him.
yeah.
It's just like those little moments where it's just like it's so good. It's so well written. The writers were just genius people. And then before that, right, how she stripped her television out of all the works
Yeah.
inside and she jumped in and she's trying to be like, hey, I could be in this commercial. I mean, again, I start to appreciate more, maybe not the climactic scene, which is always great, but kind of what comes before it and just understand that if I jump a little ahead to a show like the Lucy show, where that show is more focused on the climactic scene and not so much the buildup, it's just like, okay, Lucy's doing this, and all of a sudden, funny, end of the episode, and that's
Right.
it. But this is more like it's just a smart, well written ploy to get to where we finish, and it's just perfect.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. So this is one of my honorable mentions as well. Um, yeah, so funny. I love the part where she's in the TV and
Yeah,
Fred's like, Look, Lucy's on television. I can't get over how clear the picture is." And yeah, of course the iconic scene is hilarious, and she's like, people try to imitate it, no one can do it as well as she did. And
mhm,
I love watching people react to it, like on YouTube, knowing nothing about Lucy and going in blind and just, cracking up. But
right.
um, yeah, the end scene I love, because you see that moment where she's looking at Ricky so like lovingly. It's like, see, even drunk, she just adores Ricky so much.
Yeah, or she's like looking at him, she's like, wow. So
Yeah.
you know that love is genuine, right?
Yes, exactly. The only reason I had it in as an honorable mention is because Ethel's not in it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, and I love Ethel. You got to have all
Mhm.
4 characters in the episode for
Yeah.
me. Um, so do you have any more honorable mentions, or should I go to mine?
I mean, there's so many. I think that another one that I really, really like, and I think I only like that kind of little scene, and it's so funny. Not that the rest of the episode, but it's the one where Lucy has, she's been pregnant, she had the baby, and then they had to film these 5 episodes.
Mhm.
When Lucille Ball in real life found out that she was pregnant, they're like, oh no, we're going to have to film a couple episodes ahead of time so that we can
Mhm.
make it. So when Lucy's in the hospital, one of them was essentially where Lucy can't make up her mind. She changes her mind so much.
Yeah.
And then we have Frank Nelson in the beginning where
Mhm.
he is the waiter. I call it, in my opinion, I call it like a Franken episode, like a Frankenstein episode, because like the first half, Frank Nelson is a waiter. They're moving around, right? Lucy can't decide where to go, and they move from this place to this place. And the waiter gets so fed up, they literally quits on the spot.
Yeah.
And they're kind of passing around the utensils. Ethel's like, I've got 3 knives, and Fred's like, well, I got a full house. I got 2 spoons, a pair, of forks. And I love that. And then all of a sudden, the episode changes to Lucy being at home, and then that old boyfriend letter that she
Mhm.
writes. And they go to the mannequin store, a Franken episode, kind of like two ideas put together kind of to make one. And I like the beginning part a lot. I love Frank Nelson with the Coke bottle glasses and his typical, "Can I help you?" That great voice of his that he always does. And I mean, I think it's an underappreciated episode because there isn't this crazy stunt except for the end with the little mannequin dance. But I think it's a bit underappreciated.
For sure. That's a very funny episode. Yeah, it is. It almost seems like it's part of two different episodes, plot wise.
Yeah.
But I love Frank Nelson. I love the lack of continuity on I Love Lucy, and that these actors would play multiple people, because it gave him an opportunity to do multiple things. I love the end of that when she's with the mannequin and doing the pantomime, because she's so good at that. I mean, like no one else that I can think of.
Right.
I mean, she makes everything look so natural and real, and it's so funny. And when she takes it off and splits it in half, like, oh, poor Lucy. So another one of my honorable mentions is Too Many Crooks from season 3. Now that one's so funny because I love how much stuff is going on. There's a lot going on in that episode.
Right.
Worried about this robber named Madam X. It's a woman who robs apartments. It's Fred's birthday, and Lucy wants to get Fred a suit, so she goes and steals one of the suits, and then it leads to all this misunderstanding. So Lucy's Madam X, and then Ethel thinks, or vice versa and stuff. And there's so many quotes in that episode that are funny, or in situations. Ricky with the sleeve, so he doesn't get fingerprints on the thing.
Sorry, every time I watch that scene and it's coming up like 2 minutes before, I'll start to laugh, and I just can't wait to see him because I know what he's gonna do, and he grabs his sleeve to grab this stuff. It's just perfect, and he plays it perfectly. Like, Debbie was so underappreciated, and he's so overlooked. I mean, people like him, but I mean, he was so good on his own merit. He made, like, without him, there would have been no I Love Lucy, of course, but in regards to the acting in itself, he was very underappreciated. Like, he helped make that show.
He was so funny and so good. And he doesn't get enough credit. I mean, what's kind of sweet is he would always just give Lucy all the credit in real life. It's like, but he was part of as much a part of the show as she was, and so good. And I love when she's asking Ricky, what do the police do? They have a whole routine. She's like, what kind of a routine? And just the way she says that. Anytime my mom and I use the word routine, we say it like that.
Yeah.
And then his telltale evidences. But the funniest quote is from Fred when he says, to Ethel, if we can get Lucy to choke you, we'd have her fingerprints on your neck.
It's like his little dream that he wants to come to real life. That's the way I always saw it.
And I'm like, come on, Fred. They don't have, her fingerprints are not going to be on the skin. And it's just so funny. And then at the end of the episode, when Lucy thinks she caught Ethel, it's like, if it's money you want, I'll pay you what I owe you. That's just, that's a funny episode. I think it's pretty underappreciated. I don't hear a lot of people talk about that episode. And then my other one is Lucy has her eyes examined. That one is just so funny and zany because, one, you get to see, again, Lucy's comedic ability, physical comedy. But then also, what a great dancer she was. She was a really good dancer. The thing about good dancers is they make these difficult things look really easy.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I could do that. And then you try it and you're like, oh, no, I can't do this at all. But they make it look effortless. And I forgot to write down the guy's name that plays the King Catwalk.
I don't know his real name off the top of my head. Yeah.
He was in like some MGM musicals and stuff. I remember he was in a movie called Good News. And he's really funny. My favorite, just a good script, I think, to that episode. Lots of great lines. The beginning is funny with the them singing the "There's no business like show business."
Yeah.
You know, we know you're prepping for your pit preem, and but my favorite part is Fred coming in the fur coat.
Yes.
And he's like, "Dick the crazy dancing bear."
Cool.
Like, I start laughing before it happens. Yeah, so funny.
So that one's on my. I don't know if you want me to mention if it's on my.
Yeah, go ahead.
Top 5, because actually Too Many Crooks was my number 5, so I'm marking it down here. And then
Okay.
Lucy Gets Her Eyes Examined is number 3 for me. So,
okay, go ahead and talk about them.
Yeah, so Too Many Crooks. I mean, there's so many good, in my opinion, scenes. Like it's a very different episode. It even starts out like outside, and then the camera pans into like Lucy's bedroom, and then you see her sleeping. At least if you have the full version of the episode, that's how it starts. And then there's like a siren going on, and they're looking for the robber, right? And Lucy's kind of scared. We don't know what's going on, and there's like a female robber kind of ransacking the apartment complexes nearby. And so this idea of fear comes along, like fear and a little bit of paranoia as to who the robber is. And I think it's pretty clever, to think that Lucy is the robber from Ethel's point of view and vice versa, Ethel from Lucy's and so forth. I think that was fantastic, really well done. I really like, of course, the ending when the real, Madam X comes in, and then Lucy thinks it's Ethel, and Lucy has no fear. She's like, well, it's Ethel. I can beat her up, and she does, essentially. And then when she has her like on her back, Ricky comes in and says, I think I got Ethel. I think I got Ethel. And he realizes that is the Madam X, and so he's duking it out. And I even made an episode on that, on how brave Ricky was. Like, there are many episodes where he does step in. I mean, even this from later on, but even in the train episode, he gets the jewel thief and so forth. So anyway, so that's underappreciated, his character. And then when Fred comes in, he said, which way did she go? This way?
He goes the opposite way.
And they're like, you went this way, and Fred goes the other way. It's typical Fred, and it's just perfect. He has a bat, and he's still scared. From beginning to end, I think it's just so well done, so funny. The whole neighborhood is kind of involved, and you get the happy ending of you find the robber and the thief, and I think it was just very well written. And with Lucy's eyes, when they get examined, I think that scene is really good because you have Shepard Menken as a doctor. He also plays like a Frenchman in another episode. Then he plays the art like connoisseur and so forth. So he has a wide variety of talents. But in this one, he's playing, the doctor. And as I always mention, he plays a great straight man. The ability not to laugh. Lucy's kind of the comedic relief. She's the clown, and he's the one who's, kind of giving her the lines and making her look funny, kind of like what Ricky does all the time. And the twist of us thinking, oh, Ricky has eye issues. No, it's Lucy that's been having eye issues all along. I think that's fantastic. And the buildup, again, I think the strength of season 3, which is why it's my favorite season personally. The only one I love more is season 4, but I think season 3 has such well-written scripts. Even, I guess I enjoy the season 4 episodes more, the Hollywood stuff, but season 3 I think is the best written, in my opinion.
Sure.
Just really well done because of the buildup to, hey, my eyes are hurting, Ricky says, go to the doctor. It kind of leaves, and then it comes back in. Hey, you didn't go to the doctor? Go to the doctor. And Lucy has the issue. And then the underlying dance scene of Lucy trying to get into the club scene and finally going in, and she can't see, like it's her big break, and makes a disaster of herself. It's perfect. I mean, how could you not like that?
It's so funny. Yeah. Like when she starts dancing with the waiter instead.
Oh, yeah. With what is it? Lou Nicoletti. He is great. He appears also, like you said, random guy who appears in many different episodes.
Another thing I didn't mention that I like about that episode is, it shows how much care Lucy has for Ricky. Like, and like a real, obviously they're married in real life, but when you have someone you love, you care about their well-being, and you will get angry with them when you feel like they're not taking care of themselves. And that's why it's like, didn't you go to the doctor? We're going right now. And I'm like, that's such a real moment. And I really love that.
And a good point with what you're saying. There's a reason for that. Not only that, Madeline Davis and Bob Carroll Jr. wrote most of that stuff, is that Desi and Lucy went in there and looked at it and was like, hey, like, we're a married couple. We know how this works. This line, I wouldn't say this line. And then how can we stick Spanish in there? The writers didn't know a lick or word of Spanish.
Yeah.
And so whenever there's a little bit of Spanish or Ricky's saying it, that's his task. And they have to make those Spanish jokes with his consultation, because he's the only one who could understand, essentially. And it made it work. Like, it made it work. From my understanding, he even kind of coached some of the Spanish speakers to make sure that they were doing it well and so forth. So it's good. It's good that he went to that length to make it real in that sense.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's really interesting. Well, and it shows on screen.
Yeah, in the Cuban episode where he had the Cuban pals, one of his pals is played by a guy who has talents in like 50 different dialects and languages. And when he makes that accent, it's very, 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 very Cuban. And I know the guy isn't Cuban. Like, later he plays the French waiter and his accent is spot on French. So when he plays it, why is his accent more Cuban? Well, they're trying to play Cuban, but it's Desi. Desi was the one who stepped in there. He's the only Cuban on that show. And then it's just very interesting. There's other actors. In Italy, there's the guy who runs the motel. He's from Argentina, because I'm Argentinian. My dad is, and that's his accent. It's a very specific accent, and he's doing that accent. So it's interesting to note the different accents and how probably Desi coached all these Spanish speakers, so they kind of sound like him, even though they may be from other places.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, okay, you talked about the 2 episodes. So my number 5, let's start with your number 5.
So my number 5 is Too Many Crooks.
Oh, okay. Then my number 5 is Ricky Asked for a Raise.
Oh, okay.
From season 1, very end of season 1.
Good one.
I just think the concept of this episode allows for all the comedy.
Yeah.
And and kind of like what I was just saying, not just Lucy. I think this episode really shows how much Lucy and Fred and Ethel care about Ricky to go to all this trouble for him, because it's like they want him to do well in his career, and he deserves a raise. And Mr. Littlefield's being stubborn, and there's just, like you said, it's a great script, and the build up to the end is great. So between starting with the phone calls, and tying up the phone lines, and that one actor, very few times did like these guest actors get applause, but that actor got applause for that phone call, juggling the 2 things, and he deserved it. He did a really good job, and he was really funny. But between the phone calls and then them dressing up in all the outfits, it cracks me up. It transcends generations, because my brother and my sister-in-law got their kids into watching Lucy now. And this is one of their favorite episodes. I always ask them, what are your favorite episodes? I like the one where Ricky wants a raise and everyone's dressed up funny. And I'm like, so I wrote down the moments that I like the best. When Lucy says Harry and Bess Truman got the last table.
Yeah. And Fred's laugh during that, I don't know. I have my own little opinions, but sometimes they'll script their laughs, right? Like if it's part of the script. But then other laughs, I'm like, that laugh was so real. Yeah, it looks real. Like Fred closed his eyes, he put his head all the way back, opened his mouth all the way, and he never does that. Yeah. So to me, it was like, I mean, it cracked him up in that moment, and I just loved it. I'm like, oh, that was such a good moment.
Well, it's funny. And then Lucy with the hat, that like that New York sort of accent. And like, Ricky Ricardo ain't here no more. I'm getting out of this crummy dump.
Yeah.
And
swinging the bat, right, with the gum.
Yeah. And then of course Fred dressed up like a woman, There's
Yeah.
nothing funnier than Fresh dressed up in a funny outfit, and then as a woman, he's like, "Oh dear, Hazel, look at this," and him
What was
shimmying his behind back and forth. I mean, like this just is so hysterical, and I crack up every time I watch that episode. Um, and then Ricky coming in, all proud. I
right.
guess I'm pretty popular. I was like, all this trouble they went for you, Ricky. You have no idea. And yeah, I love that one.
Or Fred says, if the Ricardo chap ain't here, we may as well pop off.
Yeah. It's hilarious to me that they're doing. Why would these British people be here and going to the Tropicana Club?
I guess
But
he's
that's
going
the accent they
through
can
it.
do.
Who cares? Right.
Yeah, I know. And you're not supposed to think about it like that. That's what's funny.
I've never thought about it, but now that you said it, I'm like, that makes total sense. That maybe it's funnier because of that.
It is funnier. It's like
Yeah.
this guy in this top hat. I'm like, yeah, they're going to the Tropicana Club,
With a
but
monocle and this.
so funny. So what's your number 4?
Okay, my number 4 is something we haven't mentioned yet.
Okay.
And to me, it's such an odd name of an episode, so I'll describe it. Lucy's Life Story. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first episode of season 3. And it's the one where Ricky, I believe, gets super popular and he gets into a magazine. I think it's Life magazine, and Lucy says, "Oh, I have mine as well." So Lucy's feeling bad because she's not really in the magazine. Only her elbow showed up holding the baby, I
Right,
believe.
right.
And then Ricky is like, "Oh, we got more coverage than the two-headed alligator." I love that throwaway line. And only a couple people in the audience laugh, but I'm like, "Oh, that's great." And then Lucy's just, I think from that moment, I like it because I know what's coming, and I think it's funnier where Lucy is just like, I want to get in on the act. I want to get in on the act. And Ricky's like, I don't know what else to do. And he kind of comes up with this ploy. He's like, let me just put Lucy in it and really give her a hard time. Let her work herself like down to her knuckles. And then, and he had this ploy with Fred, which makes it even better. And so he's like, yeah, go ahead and call me, and then I'll make it up. So Fred calls him and he's like, what do you mean we need a new dancer? And Lucy's listening. She's like, oh, I can do that. I can do. And her desperation for trying to fulfill that act, and Ricky's messing with her, which makes it even better. He's like, well, what kind of person you need? You need a tall dancer, a short dancer? And Lucy's trying to, well, I can be tall, I can be short. And she dances really short too. That pantomime for me, like, and it's laughs to the end of the episode, right? And so that continues where Ricky reluctantly says, okay, you can do it, but his plan is to get her on there. And he's working her so hard, and she's there, and she dances and dances. And I love his challenge routine. And he goes like this. And then Lucy does this whole big thing, super tired by the end. And then at the end, she upstages him, right? She's like, well, what? He tried to trick me? Come on, Fred. I'm on your side. And something I mention here and there on my videos, I absolutely love Fred and Lucy together on screen. They don't, because the combinations, if you think about the combinations of the actors, Lucy and Ricky, always together in scenes. Lucy and Ethel, always together in scenes. Fred and Ethel, always together in scenes. But the weird combinations would be like Ricky and Ethel or Fred and Lucy. And my favorite of those is literally Lucy and Fred. And they have maybe like 10 good moments in the series where they have a moment together, and it's just like so sweet, so nice, and they're both so good. And this is one of them where they come up with a plot together, just them, just Fred and Lucy. And he helps her with the rigging, and Lucy upstages him. She does a handstand with the with the cables and everything. And Ricky's like, wow, they're cheering me, and it's Lucy behind cheering. So good, so well done. And then he finds out, and then of course he plays the bongos on her behind. And I don't know, it's just, to me, that was never a problem. I know some people, they don't like that. I don't make too much of it. I just say it's just comedy. It's physical comedy. It's like vaudeville. And so vaudeville, they would do that to each other, guys to guys. But what's different is that it's a guy to a woman, so it's a little different. But I mean, Lucy's treated like a man in the best sense. I would think that she's an equal. She can mess with the boys in comedy, right? She's not less. She can be made fun of and had a pie thrown in her face, not just the men, right?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, at least in that episode,
Mm.
because he's saying, this is Babalu, basically.
Yeah.
And I feel like Lucy was so strong in real life that if she had a problem with it, she wouldn't let it in the
Oh,
episode. So,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it, but yeah, it is fun to watch the different combos because it doesn't happen very much. And when Lucy and Fred are together, it's very sweet.
Yeah.
And I love these little moments with them. Like, I don't remember what episode it was, but she's like, I like to make things the way you like them, Fred. And he's like, oh, thank you. You're such a good hostess. And that's sweet.
Yes.
What episode?
That I think was in where they go on top of the Empire State Building, the Martians, and then the guys hide the money in their napkins and so forth. And it's just like a throwaway line. And Fred is like waiting for them to find the money, and Lucy is saying it. So you're right. I think it's they did like each other in real life. Like she had a very soft spot for him. She liked him, and he liked her a lot because she essentially gave him the opportunity to put him on the map again after his career, and it wasn't doing so well. And then with I Love Lucy, I mean, he got taken care of well financially afterwards.
Other moment I like with Lucy and Fred is in Breaking the Lease.
Yeah.
When they're dancing, and it's just so cute. And she pinches his cheek, and his little flare thing. It's adorable.
When he's teaching her how to dance, and he's stepping on her feet, and it's just perfect. She hurls him to the floor. Like, again, it's not a lot of moments like that, but I kind of am like, oh, they're golden to me because they're so rare. You don't see that combo much.
They're great. So are we up to?
That was my number 4.
That was your number. Okay, my number 4 is Lucy Goes to the Hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, season 2, episode 16.
That's a good one.
So I was trying to decide between this one and then the one where she finds out she's pregnant.
Oh,
those are both great. I like the combination of fiction and reality, because she was pregnant in real life. Because I feel like the real emotions come through, and their joy of having a child, because it was a struggle for her in real life to have children. But I chose Lucy Goes to the Hospital because the chaos of when she's like, Ricky, this is it. And they were so calm, Ricky's, the time has come, go. And they're so calm and methodical and everything's perfect. And then when she said, Ricky, this is it, and then everything goes wrong and chaos and grabbing the phone and putting it in the suitcase and go get a cab. I mean, it's just so funny. That's one of the episodes we had like on a tape.
Oh yeah.
So I've seen that one a lot. And then I wanted to mention it because I think it's a very kind of like groundbreaking episode. So, there's some question about whether another show had some character pregnant, that's unconfirmed, and a lot of it's been lost. So essentially, Lucy having a baby was the first time something like that was done on television. Right. So it's like a national event, everyone's watching this. And I wrote down the statistics of it. So the ratings of that episode, 44 million people watched Lucy Goes to the Hospital. It was 73.9% of households, which is insane.
80% of people.
You will never see that ever again. And they held the record until Elvis was on the Ed Sullivan Show. That's what broke the record.
Probably a decade after, right?
Yeah. So more people watched this episode of I Love Lucy than watched the inauguration of President Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Which, that's just nuts. And
which is crazy.
It's because everybody loves Lucy, and it was just such a special thing. And the other neat thing was that they aired it hours after she gave birth in real life. I mean, that's just like the mix of, fiction and reality is just incredible there. And it's heartwarming and heartfelt and funny. And I just love that episode.
Yeah. It's a lot of interesting facts on that one. The little boy they show at the end,
Mhm.
I don't know if you knew, he wasn't really um, Desi Jr., but he was this other boy, John James Ganser, I believe it was. And he was a little preemie baby. So I believe he was either 3 or 6 months old. I think more accurately
Mhm.
3 months old. So he looked like he was a newborn, even though he was three. And
Yeah.
there was some type of law about how young a child could be before the child could be on camera.
Oh,
And I
okay.
believe it's either 3 or 6. I have to look it up, but it's one of those. And so that's why they had to use a child that was that old, because they say no, it's kind of abuse to put a child that's like
Mm.
a week old on camera. It's got to be like with the parent supervision, only for a couple of seconds, only for like 3 seconds, or something like that. And I think that was really cool because he does look like them a little bit, and it does look like he could possibly be their child. And it was so zany. I mean, Fred freak again. I love the Lucy show, but I've come to appreciate Fred, of course Ethel, but Ricky as well. Fred freaking out that
Yeah,
they're going to be parents, and he faints, being the
I know.
godfather. I should be a godfather. I think it's great. I think it's great. And there was something also heartwarming about the Mertzes being in the Ricardos' lives. It kind of transcends many episodes, I think, because of course Lucy later gets a mother figure. Her mother's actually on, not the actual mother, but the actress who plays her mother. But you don't see a lot of the fathers. Essentially, you don't see, for
Mhm.
some reason, Ricky's father. You don't hear. You said my father once said, but there's no presence there of a
Mhm.
father. Lucy's mother, as I mentioned later, but Lucy as well. There's never, I think, even a mention of her father at all in the series, not even a throwaway line. And it's like Fred is kind of their father figure. I would always see that
Yeah.
more Ricky's, but kind of both. And Ethel, even though they're about the same age and so forth, she was kind of like motherish to maybe more
Mhm.
like an older sister. But there's some motherly, like, oh, you poor little thing, right? She would always
Yeah.
say to Lucy. And it's like, kind of watching over her. And I love that the Mertzes were the godparents, kind of like the older kind of, hey, let's help you out in life. You're the younger hip couple, and we're kind of the older couple,
Mhm.
experienced couple. Yeah.
That's true. That's one of the reasons why I love Ethel so much is
Hmm.
she's so sweet and caring. Yeah, and she's like good girl when she does something.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like your
Um,
daughter, kind of.
and yeah, it's so sweet. And then in the other episode, not Lucy goes to the hospital. Well, when she finds out, she's gonna have a baby. And Lucy, you don't think you're gonna have a baby? Oh, come on! And then she's is as excited as Lucy is.
Yeah,
And then so I can't wait to find out if I'm going to be a godmother or a godfather.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know. For me, kind of, I'll put this kind of quickly, but for me, I loved Lucy all the way up until that kind of story was made. It was a movie. I think it was 2003 on I Love Lucy, and I had known nothing about their divorce and the issues. And that movie kind of put everything in the light. And I watched it, and honestly, it traumatized me because for me,
Oh,
it killed the fantasy. It's like, if someone's makes a movie where they destroy Disneyland or something, it would be horrible. So I saw that, and it made me stop watching I Love Lucy all the way through high school and college. And then after high school and college, I was like, you know what? I really want to start watching it again because I enjoyed it. And okay, this was their lives, but you know, essentially, you got to separate it. But also going back to what you were saying, Vivian Vance never had children, and I
mhm.
think there was a joy there in knowing that her person that
Yeah.
she really loved, Lucille Ball, was going to have a child. She never
Mhm.
had one. So there's kind of a mix of, you said, like reality and fantasy. Fred, Bill and Frawley never have kids as well. And so I don't know. It's like, I don't want to say like there was a realistic portion to their joy, but I think there was. I think it something that you can't see in other shows. And it's just the circumstances that were taking place at the time and with the actors that they chose.
Yeah, and you will notice like in scenes with either the Mayer twins or
Mhm.
Keith Thibodeau, how sweet Vivian Vance and William Frawley
Yeah.
are with all those kids. Um, Particularly in there's the Hollywood episode when I think it's Lucy visits Grauman's Chinese Theater
Hmm.
when they wake him up for the party and Ethel's oh let me hold him and
Right.
it's so sweet and
Right.
Um, I like moments where you can tell it's not scripted because
Mhm.
you can only script so much with a little
Right.
child.
Of course.
So I love watching scenes with kids because you'll see lots of sweet natural moments.
Right.
I always
Mhm.
appreciate that.
I'm sure you can think of the Superman episode with Carolyn Appleby, Lillian. What's her name? It's escaping me. Oh, Carolyn. No, what's her real life name?
Doris Singleton is her
Doris
real name.
Singleton. There we go. Thank you. And Bill Frawley with the
Mhm.
kids, and they're
Yeah,
they're doing the not the main pole, but they're doing the
London
games, and
Bridge.
London Bridge.
London
There we go.
Bridge.
Thank you. And you could see the joy in his face. I don't think
Yeah.
it's like, oh, smile and be joyful. I mean,
Mhm.
he, I think, loved kids for being a grouch. Keith Thibodeau said that he was amazing to him. Like I
Mhm.
always remember him being nice to me, and I think that's something good that you see articles. It's like William Frawley was horrible and he was a grouch and all these horrible things about him. And I'm like, okay, he was a human
Mhm.
being, but he was great to kids. I mean, people don't highlight that.
Everybody has, even if they're grumpy and grouchy, almost everyone has a soft side, and that's
Yeah,
obviously his. And sometimes people are too harsh, I think.
I think, yeah. And I'm like, oh, come on, don't be harsh on him. He was great.
Yeah. So are we up to number 3? What was your number 3?
My number 3 was Lucy Gets Her Eyes Examined.
Okay, and my number 3 was job switching. Okay. So
Okay.
what's your number 2?
Okay, number 2, something I think my top 2, nothing have we mentioned before, so they're kind of out of left field.
Okay.
Bonus bucks. So what is bonus bucks for those who may not know, or I'll trigger you? They find, or they're looking to find a dollar bill that's worth $300, or let's say 3,000 at this point. And so Lucy is going to all these stores trying to take in bills, getting fives, and then trying to get the ones, and then trying to match it to the serial number that is the real one. But Lucy can't find any. But Ricky accidentally finds one with Fred. They freak out and they say, wait, let's have Lucy find it. And kind of what you were saying before, it's a sweet moment, right? It's good intentions. Let your wife
Yeah.
be super happy. I can have her find it instead of me cashing in the money, being like, I want it. Give her that joy, right? But unfortunately, he forgot that he was married to Lucy and something
Yeah.
crazy has to happen. And so, one of the reasons why I love it, first of all, from the beginning, it's funny all the way to the end.
Mhm.
And it's just nonstop. And it's just, sometimes you have episodes where there's a lull, or there are episodes where you're like, come on, let's just get to the point.
Right.
This, in my opinion, completely continues all the way, Lucy finding the bill and at the end, the starch, right? And so I think what was great is, in my opinion, I mean, maybe I could be wrong, but this is like the first episode where I feel pretty much in any show where it's a chase type of story. So the
Right.
chase of what? The bill, right? And people talk about it's a mad, mad, mad world, the chase of the money. Rat Race, another movie that I love, The Chase, and the Lucy Hunt's Uranium episode, The Chase. And that became a prompt for many scripts and many shows and movies, chasing something, right? And I love that concept. And I would
Mhm.
say, maybe I could be proved wrong, but I think that's one of the first times that kind of happens, where you have an episode focused on the chase of something like that, something material, and you kind of go through every hurdle to get to that prize, right, at the end. And it's just so great to see them go crazy, where Lucy doesn't know she has the bill, gives it to the grocer, right? And then the grocer goes to Ethel, and then essentially Ethel is the
Yeah.
one who finds it. And then they track it back. Wait, that was the one that I had. And then they fight over the bill, they rip it. And then the four have this big issue, right? So they're like, well, what do we do? Maybe we can cash this bill and split the money. Okay, great. But then it finally accidentally, half of it gets put in the laundry. They go to lunch. So it's this back and forth chase,
Mhm.
this little bit of chaos. They go everywhere, right? They go to the laundromat. They cause a big mess, and finally they have it. It's in their hands, but they have a little bit of bills to pay because of all
Yeah.
the chaos they've caused, and they're left with $1 at the end. Perfect, because Lucy fell in the starch vat, and it's perfect just to help her get her hair done or get
Yeah.
her clothes back in shape. It's like perfect, and the disappointing face of them losing all the money is great, but it's also a reset. It's like a natural reset. They
Mhm.
didn't end up millionaires, And that's the point, because I think if the four of them
Yeah.
or two of them would have ended up millionaires, let's say that there's a script where they become millionaires, it changes the whole script. There's no more climbing to the top. There's no more trying to be the star. There's no more of that, enjoying the journey. So I think it just resets them again, and it's a perfect script. I think it's just so well done.
Yeah, I love this episode. I almost put it on my list.
Yeah.
It was this close to making my list.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's funny from start to finish, and yeah, it is. It's a chase, and there's also a timeline.
Yes.
So, which is very important.
Cool.
That's why it's so quick. That's why they're so frantic in the laundry, yelling, it's in the corner. And she's like, where is it? Oh, I got it, and it's hilarious that, anytime they go to so much trouble and then that nothing comes of it. And then, just $1. Oh, give it to Lucy. She went through the most. And do you know how they achieved that with her hair and her dress and everything? Do you know how they did that?
I mean, one of my guesses for the dress, it looks like it was kind of pointy like this. It seems like they could have easily just fit kind of like a wire hanger, like those twist ties, kind of like twist ties, thicker maybe on the edge, and it would make it that shape. Where their hair, I'm sure they can, bundle it up and, not with mousse, but like with different pins and stuff and make it like that. But I mean, it was well done. And then added on, I don't even think I would do an effect of Lucy puckering her lips.
Yeah.
Like she starched, like that just was icing on the cake. It just wasn't her, what she was wearing. It's just so well done. So zany. But a good point that you mentioned, how there's a script, there's a reason, they're trying to come up with it, and you have nothing to show for it at the end. I think a lot of people today complain about things like that, and I won't get too much into it, but Star Wars were things like MacGuffins, things that the newer movies that people complain, there's no reason for that. Why did they even include this? We could say there's no reason for this entire episode because they end up where they start. But I think the fun is just enjoy the moment, enjoy the chase. That's part of the fun. In fact, the chase is the fun, because at the end, the climax is you're right back where you start because nothing came from it. So I think that was ahead of its time, that concept.
Well, people today, I think, are very overly critical of everything.
Yeah.
And have forgotten how to just enjoy little things, simple things. They have to have something to criticize. There's something wrong with everything. And I'm just not that kind of person. I critique things, I do like film journalism stuff, and there's certainly things I've watched that I've hated.
Yeah.
But I find myself way less critical than most people who do the same sort of thing, watch the same sort of films or TV shows. But it's okay that it ends the same way they started, because that's really the point. I mean, if you mentioned It's a Mad World, they start out the same. I mean, everything goes wrong in that movie, and who gets the money? No one. I mean, everyone just gets hurt and electrocuted at the end of that movie. It's almost actually worse.
Yeah.
That's what makes it funny. It's supposed to be silly and goofy, and you're just supposed to, it's like that saying, it's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. And MGM, art for the sake of art, comedy for the sake of comedy. And I think I always use this example, but in Duck Soup with the Marx Brothers, some people, though I'm a big fan of Gilligan's Island, people say, how did they have all the clothes on the island? How did they picked the show apart, which I get. They criticize the show. That is, you can pick it apart. You can say, oh, why this, but it's like they hate on the show for all these things. And I'm like, why did no one complain when Harpo Marx pulled a blowtorch from his pocket? No one said, why did he do that? That fuel can't stay in his pocket. No, because it's a cartoon. You're watching essentially a live action cartoon. But when, times have changed, you get into the 60s and so forth, people start questioning more. Well, why is this, a genie, and I Dream of Jeannie getting married to a man? That's horrible. That kills the show. I mean, maybe the vibe changed, but it's the comedy is not for just comedy's sake. Like you said, people have started becoming more critical, and it's almost like, the comedy had to be changed because so many questions were asked, so it all had to make sense. And then that's when the comedy kind of suffers a little bit, in my opinion.
Wait, I'm just trying to think. People complain that Jeannie marries Major Nelson
Yes,
because
they say because
why?
she's a genie and he's a human, and so that shouldn't work.
What?
That shouldn't work. Like, that
That's
kills
so
the show. They
dumb.
should have stayed unmarried
She's
forever.
like a person, and she's just magical, and they love
Yeah.
each other. That is so dumb. Oh my god.
Oh, I hear it
I've
all the
never heard
time.
that before. Oh yeah, I've never heard
I
that
hear it
complaint.
all the time. They say, "Oh, I Dream of Jeannie is great," except when they got married. And I understand why they're saying it. I don't know if I agree with it, but then they think like it's done, the comedy is done, and it's just not worth it. And I'm like, oh, so many things in comedy don't make sense, and that's the
Yeah.
point. That's the point. Gilligan flapping his arms with feathers and flying, and then all of a sudden he's like, "How am I flying?" And then he falls. How is he suspended for 3 seconds? It's a cartoon. You're watching a
It
cartoon.
is a cartoon.
Right? I always say
Complaining
that.
about shows like that is so dumb to me because it's supposed to be silly. Why do they get? Why do the cannibals have all their wardrobe? Because they do. You know, you're not.
Yeah.
There's no logic in a show like that. It's a silly
Yeah.
comedy. You're just supposed to enjoy the nonsense of it. You know, that's what makes it funny.
No, absolutely. And I mean, no one asked, why didn't Lucy die going into a starch vat? Why didn't she get poisoned?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, okay, you're gonna come out like that. No one questions that. But then certain other things people question. So it's just interesting what people question and what they don't. You know, I think I've never heard anyone question the starch vat scene, but people question other things like why so many clothes. It's like that's more plausible than falling into a starch vat.
Yeah, it's funny. Do you see these like on like your videos? Do you see like lots of comments like that?
Yeah, I see a broad range of opinions, which is interesting because they show me things that I've never thought about, different opinions or I don't agree with, but then it has me see things differently, kind of come up with things like this, like the blowtorch thing, or, why wouldn't you question Lucy, falling in a starch vat? Or there's an episode, I don't know if you remember, where it's kind of a deleted scene. They don't show it much in some of the networks, but it's one where Ricky says, well, if this is true, like it's the novel where they write the novel. It's not one of my favorites, but I'm just mentioning it. Or Lucy writes a novel and then it gets published according to her. And Ricky's like, if that happens, I'm going to eat my hat. And so she brings out his straw hat.
Yeah.
He starts chewing on the hat and like swallowing it. And it's like, no one thinks that's ridiculous. Oh, that's so funny. I'm like, he's chewing on straw. You can't do that. No one questions it, but they question other things, right? So
it's funny. It's people. It's funny the things people focus in on, but then forgive other things. It's just weird.
Yes, exactly.
But it's not to go off too much on a tangent, but what you were saying about like art for art's sake, that sort of thing. Especially compared to now, like lots of older films, like animated films or like musicals and things like that, have so many moments that it's just like to be pretty or artistic looking. It's just something nice to look at. It has nothing. There's no plot or or anything like that. It's just for the artistry of it, and that is something severely lacking in like newer movies. You do see it sometimes in some movies, but way less so. And I was talking on another episode, on my Cinderella episode with my friend Rachel, when we talked about the 1950 Cinderella with the scene where she's washing the floor with all the bubbles and she's singing the Sweet Nightingale song.
Yeah.
And it's like that scene just exists to be pretty. There's no other reason for it. And you compare it to like modern like animated films, which they're great. I enjoy them. But they're like a joke a minute. Everything's plot, joke, joke, joke. Nothing slow or, just artistic for its own sake. And I think that's really does a disservice especially for children, and that's why maybe some kids have problems with like their attention span or everything's so fast paced, nothing slow.
Something every second. Yeah.
So I think it's important to show kids older stuff, like show show them old movies, show them I Love Lucy, show them Mr. Rogers, Neighborhood, that sort of thing.
Slow paced, Mr. Rogers,
Yeah.
but it was the most relaxing show ever as a kid.
Yeah.
Time went by slower. You enjoyed it more.
Mm-hmm.
And then now everything's so fast paced because everything's so instantaneous.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you're going to introduce your daughter to all these things. And it's something you have to think about because it's, like I said, it does kids a disservice if they don't know any of that stuff. And it's good for their well-being and their mental state for sure. But anyway, back to Lucy.
Yeah.
So what was do we do your number 2?
My number 2 is Bonus Bucks. Yours?
Okay. My number 2 is The Courtroom.
Oh, that's a great one.
From season 2. So I love an episode where it's Lucy and Ricky versus Fred and Ethel. There's multiple ones. Yeah. And this one's my favorite because they love each other so much. But for two couples who love each other as much as they do, they get super nasty, super fast, but it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's like they brought them this beautiful gift and it's an accident what happens. And then they get so mad. And then Fred just goes berserk, and kicks their TV. And it's like, Fred, man,
it's scary.
Nuts. Because that was on purpose. Ricky was an accident,
Yeah.
And I love the realistic, to a point, couple dynamics in that episode, especially with Lucy and Ricky coming down the stairs, bringing the set down, and that's just like that's like what a real couple is going to be like. Exactly. Trying to get this heavy thing down the stairs, and she's like, "Be careful of the bow, don't mess up the bow." But that's speaking from a female perspective, we think of things like that. We don't mess up the wrapping; it looks so pretty, And then when he's writing the testimony for her, and that just cracks you up. Lift skirt's a little higher. She's like, "Oh, okay." But of course, the like you said, it's a good episode from start to finish. The whole lead up, and then in the courtroom. What cracks me up is Lucy and Ricky's testimony is pretty close to the truth. It's not that far off. And she's just using her feminine wiles basically to get her way. Yeah. My favorite part of the episode is Ethel, who goes so far into fiction.
A hatchet.
She's like, I wrote down the quote because it just cracks me up. I wanted to get it exactly right. Yeah. She's like, this Cuban maniac, or as he's more commonly known, Senor Know-It-All, took an axe from his pocket and started hacking it. And I'm like, Ethel, come on, this is so ridiculous. He took an axe from his pocket.
Who wrote that? Was it Fred?
Yeah, good question. I don't know.
I don't know.
Fred wrote it. Ethel came up with it. And, she's going like that. And I'm like, and then she's like, picked up my husband's foot and pushed it through the glass. I'm like, this is so hilarious because it is so far from what really happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, of course, Lucy and Ricky would get so fumed. But of course, then they're all laughing and everything's, hunky-dory and they all made up at the end. And then I love the judge who gets mad and kicks his TV at the end. And right. I don't know if a lot of people know the judge. I forgot to write it down, his name. The judge, the actor. He's also in the Long Run trailer, the movie that Lucy and Desi made.
Right. I remember him.
He was the potential buyer for their trailer at the. He bookends the movies at the beginning and the end of the movie, and so that's just a little fun fact. I love the Long Run trailer. That's like one of my favorite all-time movies because it's so fun. But yeah, the courtroom, it's my favorite Lucy and Ricky versus Fred and Ethel episode. Just for all those reasons. Do you have any thoughts on the episode?
I think that episode was interesting because I love the scene and kind of like you were saying, there was no reason for them to have them come down. They could have started the episode with the TV already down there.
Yeah.
Or, hey, knock, or okay, do you think they'll be here? I don't know. Try knocking. But the fact that they took a good 5 minutes to get that TV down there. They milked it, and it was so well done. Like you said, it made sense. They were doing their husband and wife thing. Ricky was trying to be the macho guy, trying to put the whole TV on his back and hurting himself in the process. And Lucy was like, "Oh, this is great."
We should have thought of this before.
And then he was like, "I should have stayed in Cuba."
Yeah.
Like, and part of it's this juxtaposition of the love they had for each other, the Mertzes and the Ricardos, and how quickly, which makes sense, kind of the more you love someone, maybe with your siblings, the more heated your fights and arguments are.
That's
right?
true.
And so it's similar. Like you could see how dirty Fred was in terms of trying to get an advantage. I mean, the Mertzes, they piggybacked off of the Ricardos to go to Hollywood, and they got. I mean, but then what did they offer in return? You could say, well, nothing. But they were very motherly and fatherly to they wanted them to succeed when things were good, they were okay, and they would help them in their own way, maybe not financially, but they would support them with their plans, their schemes to move up in life. I almost feel like in situations where they were already in, or maybe Fred and Ethel, they did it the normal way, but Lucy and Ricky were so unique that there was like, oh, okay, we remember when we got married, but we're going to go along with your craziness kind of thing. So they're experiencing their life through the Ricardos in a new way. So I think that's why I appreciate that episode, because you see how bad it is when they fight, but then how lovey-dovey they are quickly because of how good friends they are. So yeah, I mean, it's a great episode, and I do love to watch that one. I mean, it's hard to make a list like this because, like I said, next month we do this, I'll give you a different list of episodes. So yeah,
I think we might have the same number one.
Oh, possibly.
What is
we didn't
yours?
plan it. We didn't plan it.
So what is yours?
Mine's home movies.
Yeah, that's my number one too.
Yeah. Do you want me to go or you to go?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, you can talk.
Home movies. So let me just describe this one. It's a very simple premise. Essentially, Ricky is really crazy with a new piece of technology, a camera, and he starts recording all his life moments at home, and he thinks that he can maybe make his own little home movie and help that further his career and pitch it to this type of producer guy who may put him in a movie or a big show or something like that. And of course, Lucy and the gang want to get in on it. But in the beginning, they hate Ricky's movies. They're so boring because they watch them over and over, even though it's mostly about Lucy and the baby, which they should enjoy. But I guess because they've been watching them so much, they're like, this is all we're doing, like day after day. So Ricky gets a little offended. And so he's like, you know what? I'm just going to keep my home movie thing to myself. You guys do whatever you want. Then that's when they want to get involved. And so Fred, Ethel, and Lucy are like, let's come up with our own home movie. And they dress up Lucy's apartment, the Ricardo's apartment, like a saloon, and they go to the old cowboy theme. And I mean, they film everything, and everything seems to be going great until they realize there's no film in the camera.
Yeah.
Then they have to film it again, which is interesting because when it comes out on the final product, it's the same as the first time they shot it. But anyway, a little fun little fact there. But what was great was, I mean, that was the first, you could say, like, primitive YouTube video. That's the first, like, idea of editing, right? That you can edit something, edit the home movie that they thought would be perfect and come out in the way that you want, came out completely in chaos, mixed with Ricky's home movies, and Lucy made just like this Franken horrible movie that was a complete mess, a complete embarrassment. They showed it in front of the producer. Everyone's super embarrassed, but the producer thought, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. It's a great piece of art. I want it. And everyone's like, what? How did this even happen? Which kind of, I didn't look too much into the meaning, but I mean, this happens to us where maybe we try really hard to get something done. It goes horribly, but things turn out well in the end. Somehow, we don't even know how, but it's like, okay, that wasn't that big of a deal. I love the editing part of it. The fact that they had to, I don't know if people know this, but that scene where the projection and the projecting the whole movie, that had to be done not in front of a live audience, well, essentially the whole episode, because there was a lot of editing involved. They had to kind of project it. It was pretty advanced to make it. And so it was a difficult episode to make in that sense. And so they had to put the laughter in afterwards when the people watched the episode. And what was interesting about that, it had a different feel than the other episodes. I would say it was kind of soapboxy. It makes you feel like you're in this little box watching the episode. That's kind of how I describe it. But it's like a cozy feeling of you're just sitting there in the living room watching this with them. And
Right.
I think it brings you in a lot more than some of the other episodes, and I like that. And it just does a unique feel that you don't feel in any other episode. I think you can't compare it to any other one, and I think they did it very successfully. Season 3 was like they had the show down. They knew all the characters, they knew the plot lines, they knew the weaknesses, so they were able to squeeze the best lemonade out of those lemons. And then when they did that, they're like, what do we do now? Let's go somewhere else. Let's go to
Yeah.
Hollywood, right? And then we get to Hollywood. But in my opinion, it was like one of the best works of season 3, or just the first 3 seasons. It was just so well done. But I could see some people not liking it because it was so kind of different in home movies. But I think it gets so many laughs that people love it anyway. So
Yeah. So it's my favorite, from those for episodes because it's so funny because of the concept. So I'm someone who in real life loves home movies. Like my grandpa would record all our holidays on his camcorder and stuff, and I would watch them a lot. And so I would watch them kind of like I was a little bit like Ricky. I liked watching them over and over again. And I'm the kind of person, there's always like this running joke of people don't want to watch other people's home movies. I totally would. I don't care if it's not my family. I would watch them. I enjoy that sort of thing. I find them charming and sweet. So that's one of the reasons I love this episode, because I love the home movies of little Ricky at the beginning. I think that's really cute and real. And
they get mixed into the final.
Oh yeah. I think it's hilarious that those got mixed in with their cowboy movie, Ricky's movie, and then somehow their regular home movies got mixed in. I'm like, Lucy, how did you do that?
Well, I think they took the rolls out of the closet. They're like, get me the rolls from the closet, and I think Fred or Ethel got all of them. They just didn't.
Okay. Like she wasn't even looking. It just went all chaos. That's why everything's so backwards and upside down. And no matter how many times I've seen that, I'm always cracking up. And so this is another episode where I asked my niece and nephew, what episodes do you like? And my nephew's like, I like the whole movie one. And I think, because it's so silly, especially the end part. He's like, that's so funny. I'm like, yes, it is. I love how much pride Ricky takes in it too, that he's just so proud of it and having so much fun with it. And he's like, this is a Ricky Ricardo production.
Yeah.
And I think it's hilarious that their movie that they make, it's supposed to be a drama, but you're laughing at
it. It's a disaster. It's a comedy.
It's ridiculous with the smoke. It's funny. I hate smoking. I think smoking's gross.
Yeah.
And Lucy is the only time I accept it, because in old movies, just
smoking in reverse.
It was just the norm. Yeah. And it's funny in that regard when it's going backwards and they're like, it looks like they're inhaling it, and like it's funny. It's like it's a disassociation sort of thing.
Yeah.
But this funny episode. Yeah, it's one of the best episodes of the whole show, I think. Not just in this little group of episodes. I never thought about like what you said, how it feels maybe a little bit more closed in, but then cozy because of the different way they had to film it. But that makes it unique. It is a very unique episode, and I don't feel like you can compare it to any other episode they did. Whereas some of them you can, go, oh, this episode would go well with this episode, and so on and so forth. But no, this one's really, really unique, really funny, and I just love it. So that was our top 5. But before we go, let's just show how hard this was to narrow it down. I listed more episodes that almost made my list.
Oh yeah,
and I'm just gonna read them off really fast. Redecorating the Mertz's apartment.
That's a good one. Very, very good.
Now, though, yeah, the one where she finds out she's pregnant. I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it French? Lucy is
That one.
enceinte. Yeah, I never know
Yeah.
how to say it properly.
Yeah.
Lucy tells the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy is envious.
Yeah.
I like to say it's a moo moo all the time.
It's
Bonus bucks, like I said.
yeah.
The handcuffs.
I love the handcuffs.
The end thing with Lucy's hand is so hilarious.
Yeah.
The seance. That's one of my favorite, really, really early episodes.
Early ones.
Same with Lucy writes a play. I think is very funny at the end when there's the mix-up, especially.
Yeah.
The operetta.
Yeah.
Pioneer Women and the Kleptomaniac.
Oh wow, nice.
So those are all very funny episodes. Some of my favorite in the first 3 seasons. It was very hard picking.
It was very hard. And if you ask me again, I may say, "Oh, how did I miss this one?" I have the mustache. I don't know why I like that episode. I think they didn't show it a lot on my network. And when I finally did get all the DVDs, all the episodes, I watched it and I was like, "This is good. I like the mustache. It's kind of weird."
That's funny.
But I think it's funny. And then the freezer. I mean, I love that. Lucy getting locked in the freezer. And I even love the build up to it of how much they bought. And the guys coming in, like, again, a show like today, they would make the guys coming in nonstop with all the meat like 5 seconds long, and they would just move on. But the fact that the guys kept coming in for a good 3-4 minutes, I think sells the deal of how much stuff it was, and the fact that they had to have so much props on camera. I think it was so well done in that sense.
And I believe on IMDb that's one of the highest rated episodes.
Oh wow!
But I was looking at the highest rated episodes, and that was pretty high up there. It surprised me a little bit because I feel like people don't really think of that episode. But because there was Lucy does a TV commercial, job switching. LA at Last. I think Lucy and John Wayne is very highly rated. And then the freezer was really up there with all those, and that's kind of interesting. Sometimes I forget that one though.
Yeah. No, yeah. And some of the ones you mentioned, I was like, oh, I didn't put that one on my list. It's hard. Top 5. I mean, top 10 list. You could put others in there, but yeah.
Well, I do 5 because if you do more, you'll be talking for 2.5 hours.
Oh no, for sure. I think 5 was great. But I'm like, oh, what else? What could I put here? I had to cut some off.
Yeah. I'm glad you had bonus bucks on yours because I really love that episode. And I was so close to redecorating the Merch's apartment. Have on there because the end of that episode when the feathers go everywhere.
It's so good.
And Fred comes in and he's like, like that. His expressions are so
clean them up one by one.
And it's hilarious to me how they get mad at Lucy, and I'm like, was this Lucy's fault? I don't think so. I don't know. It's partially Fred's fault. Aren't you paying attention, Fred? But no, we have to blame Lucy for everything. Poor thing.
I know.
But anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode. We are gonna be back. I'm not sure when. I have my schedule for the next few months is pretty tight as far as other things I'm going to be talking about. So probably not till the new year for the next one. But those will be New York episodes part 2. So seasons 4 through 6.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And then we'll do Hollywood, Europe, and then the country. Yeah. Those will be easier because there's way less to choose from.
Yeah.
Especially the Europe and country, especially. Right. Even though it will still be difficult only picking 5. It's going to be very difficult for Hollywood for me.
Yeah.
Pick 5.
Hollywood, but it's good stuff.
But the second part, it'll be New York, and then you could also choose from the Florida episodes too, if you wanted, because those have to fit in there somewhere, and those are funny too. So I didn't want to exclude them from the pool of episodes.
Okay.
But I hope everyone enjoyed watching or listening to this wherever you're listening to this. I'm going to start loading these onto audio only, not just YouTube, very soon. So thank you for being my guest. I knew you'd be a perfect guest to talk about I Love Lucy because I know you love the show. So everyone go subscribe to Rick's channel. It's really, really fun. Very, very fun videos, very informative. I love all the Lucy stuff. I forgot to mention earlier. I also like when you go like do these little kind of like field trip episodes. Like, you were showing. I watched a couple recently that I'd missed. I think they were from last year. Where you were showing the old like studios and stuff, and then you went to it was a hotel I'd actually never heard of. It was kind of like known as the I Love Lucy Hotel near Palm Springs.
Mm-hmm.
I'd actually never heard of that place, and I'm like, I need to go there. That looks really fun.
You should. It feels very I Love Lucy-esque, and they were there. Like that was their hotel. So it was like, it's not just like a gimmicky, hey, let me make a little hotel and fill it with Lucy stuff. No, like that was their land, and they wanted their guests to play free golf when you stayed there, and that's still there. That's still part of the thing. I'm not a golfer, but if you would, then you'd get free golf, 18 holes.
Yeah. But as like I said, I hope everyone enjoyed watching or listening to this, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Take care, everyone.